Om Sahana Vatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpathyadhihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Om Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutation to all. So we are on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto. The first chapter we saw about the life of Raja Priyavrata. Priyavrata is the son of Manu and Shatrupa, brother of Uttanapad. So we had seen about Uttanapad, Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti, their lives. Now Priyavrata Raja. So Parikshit ji asks Shukdev ji that how did Priyavrata Raja get into the household way, and then how did he attain the supreme state? So the whole story was told by Shukdev ji that Priyavrata did not want to go the household way, but Brahmaji came and he explained to Priyavrata that how one must go through as per the will of the Lord, and also Grihastha ashram is required for getting vairagya, getting dispassion. Otherwise, the mind has some tendencies which are left over, and the mind will get attracted towards the world, towards the enjoyments. And so, if a person follows the Grihastha ashram with the attitude of Karma Yoga, whereby one serves the Lord, one does not entertain Raga and Dvesh, then the mind will be purified. And so, upon the command of Brahmaji, Priyavrata gets into the household way, and he has many children, and a lot of glorious work he did that we saw. And he also, so he married this Barhishmati, the daughter of Vishwakarma, and also he married so Barhishmati, and he had a daughter who is Urjaswati, and he also had all these sons whose names are all names of Agni. So Agnidhra is the eldest one. Then Idma Jihva, Yajnabahu, Mahavira, Hiranyareta, Grita Prishta, Savana, Medhatithi, Vitihotra, and Kavi. So Kavi, Mahavira, and Savan, they renounce the world. They are not going the household way. The other people, they marry. Now, Priyavrata Raja also, we saw that he takes the whole round of the earth very fast so that he doesn't see so he tries to as though make day and night one. And then we saw that he divides the universe into different dvipas. So Jambu Dvipa, Plaksha Dvipa, Shalmali Dvipa, Kusha Dvipa, Krauncha Dvipa, Shaka Dvipa, and Pushkara Dvipa. And dimensions of all these were given. These are different realms of consciousness. And having lived, having done all this glorious work, he thinks that I am still attached to the wife, and what have I done? Whole life went in mundane things. My purpose was to know the truth. And so, what does he do? He gave this different parts of this earth to the sons that he had, and he renounced the world. So he says, it is said here that like a dead body, disgusted at heart with all his attachments, he dropped all the attachments, lived like an indifferent person completely, and he followed the path of renunciation. Naraji had told him, so he had heard about it, he had known about it, so he renounced the world. And what was he doing? Remembering Bhagavan, Hari all the time. Now, there ended the first chapter. Now Agnidhra, so second chapter of the fifth canto starts now. So Agnidhra is the eldest son. And so we find here that he is ruling over Jambu Dvipa, that is on the earth. The rest of them are supposed to be different levels of consciousness. So here he is a ruler of Jambu Dvipa. So the father had told him to rule, so he follows his command, and he protected duly the people of Jambu Dvipa as though they are his own progeny, and very righteously, dharmic way he ruled the country. Now he wanted children, so he wanted to propitiate the Pitrus. So sacha kadachit pitruloka kamaha suravara vanita krida chalad dronayam bhagavantam vishwasrajam patimabhrita paricharyopakarana atmaikagryena tapasvyaradhyam babhuva. So now he was wanting to reach also the realm of the Pitrus, as well as have progeny also. And so what did he do? He collected various materials that are required, and he started worshipping the Pitrus, and then he started doing meditation. And he started adoring Brahmaji, the creator, where in a valley of Mount Mandar. Now Mount Mandar is supposed to be the pleasure ground of celestial damsels. He chose that kind of a place. It is not written whether he was aware of it or not, but very important to choose the place for meditation properly. The place must have such an association that it will help to fulfill the objective of meditation. Whatever the purpose is here, he wants to attain Pitruloka. He doesn't want ultimate Jivan Mukti. But even for Pitruloka, one must have that focus on Bhagavan, on Brahmaji here. So he has chosen, maybe he thought there is a quiet place. He didn't do his due diligence. So sometimes it happens, we choose a place and we think that it is a nice place, but it may have some different kinds of vibrations all around. Maybe what has happened earlier has left those vibrations there. And here it is that it's supposed to be the pleasure ground of the celestial damsels called Apsaras. Now, Brahmaji, he saw that now Agnidhra is meditating. So what does Brahmaji do? He sends down one Apsara. Who is this Apsara? So this Apsara is called Purvachiti. And she used to sing in the court of Brahmaji. So this Apsara is sent down. Now there was a very nice garden attached to the hermitage where this Agnidhra was staying. It has ponds, lakes, and there are lots of beautiful birds and waterfowls and special species of ducks called Karandavas, swans. And these are, the whole description is given of how that place is very enchanting. Birds and creepers and trees and honeybees and all those beautiful things are there. Densely growing trees of every description. So this Purvachiti comes there. Now, she is an Apsara, she is a divine damsel. Her beauty is being described here. And she walks in a very graceful way. She has lovely pairs of eyes, and ornaments she wore are so beautiful. And when she walks, the anklets make some jingling sound. Now this prince, he was meditating, Agnidhra. So he opens his eyes, slowly he opens, who is this? But the damsel is moving around. And his meditation broke. Now it is said, like a female honeybee, the celestial damsel was enjoying the sweet odor of flowers not very far from him and carving a passage for love, using flowers for his weapons. Into the minds of men by her gait, sport, bashful and modest glances, musical voice, graceful limbs, all which are ravishing the mind of gods and even men. So she was so beautiful, attractive. And this Agnidhra also is tempted. He stopped thinking about Brahmaji and Pitrus. And his mind is now fascinated by this woman. So the prince succumbed to the dominating influence of the most powerful god of love. So Kamdev played his part. Says Kamdev found an open door to his heart the moment the prince saw her and addressed her in the following words. So now he says, who are you? What do you intend to do on this hill? Are you the inscrutable Maya of the all-powerful supreme deity? Pointing to her eyebrows, he says this. Do you wield that pair of stringless bows for your own protection, or are you in search of some unwary game in the forest? These are stringless bows. Bow will have one string, curve and the string. This has only curve, no string. Looking at the bow, he's saying, looking at the eyebrows, he's saying, those eyebrows are like stringless bows. And you have come here to shoot creatures like me, he says. And then, what are the arrows? These are two arrows, this side, this eyes through which he is giving side glances. So he says that pointing to her shaft-like sidelong glances, these two arrows of your worshipful self, winged as they are with the lotus petals, the eyes are the lotus petals, side glances are the arrow, are gentle and lovely without hilt, yet extremely sharp pointed. We wonder whom you intend to aim them at, wandering as you do in the forest. And so he goes on, like that whole description is given here, that may this expedition of yours be conducive to us, dull-witted creatures. Then there are some bees that are hovering over her. These pupils of your worshipful self are got disconnected in between. So he describes a lot of beauty of this Apsara, that whole portion you can see. Finally, he says that through what kind of austerities did you secure this beautiful form, wrecking as it does the great austerities of others practicing them. You ought to practice asceticism with me. Or maybe Brahma himself has shown his grace to me by sending you to me for a wife. So, he invites her to practice asceticism or become his wife. I shall not forego you, my beloved friend, who have been conferred on me by Brahma. Neither my mind nor my eyes turn away from you, fastened as they are on you. Be pleased to take me, your servant, O fair bosom damsel, wheresoever you please, and let these obedient companions of yours follow me. Now see, this is one expression given here. We'll see the deeper meaning of it. Let's finish this chapter. It gets over here. So now he invites her. So this Agnidhra, it is said here that he had intelligence of gods and proved a path many earthly pleasures as well as celestial pleasures for a period of, it is said here, 10 crore years. Through her, it is said that the foremost of kings, Agnidhra, begot 9 sons. Who are these 9 sons? Nabhi, Kimpurusha, Harivarsha, Ilavrata, Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, Kuru, Bhadrashva, Ketumala. Remember, Kuru, Kaurava dynasty comes from this Kuru. This why is important to know. See, Manu and Shatrupa to Priyavrata, Priyavrata to Agnidhra, Agnidhra to this. Now it will be Nabhi. From Nabhi will come Rishabdev, from Rishabdev will come Bharat. Our country is named Bharat after that king Bharat. This is the lineage. We should remember. And so these 9 sons are born to this Agnidhra, and when these 9 sons are born, this Purvachiti, she leaves. She goes back to her celestial abode, to Brahmaji. Now, the sons of Agnidhra, they were well built, they were strong, they were allotted their due share by the father, and they ruled the divisions of Jambudvipa, apportioned to them, and they were named after them also. Now, what does this Agnidhra do? So he says Agnidhra was not yet satiated with the sense delights. He constantly kept thinking about this Purvachiti, and for him, she is supreme. Everything is secondary. He is so madly in love with her, even after 10 crores of years. And what did he get? When he dropped the body, he also got the same heaven where this Purvachiti has gone. So secure through deeds enjoined by the Vedas, residence in the same heaven with her. Which heaven is this? Now this is Pitruloka. So Purvachiti comes there, he goes from here. He wanted that Pitru, he was worshipping Pitrus, he wanted Pitruloka. The 9 brothers, they married the daughter of Meru, deciding deity of Sumeru. So who are these 9 daughters? Mevi, Pratirupa, Ugradamstri, Ramya, Shyama, so these 9 daughters of Meru. So the 9 sons of Agnidhra married the 9 daughters of Meru, who is the presiding deity of Sumeru Parvat. So Meru Devi, Pratirupa, Ugra Damstri, Lata, Ramya, Shyama, Nari, Bhadra, and Devaviti. These are the 9. Now this ends the second chapter. Now, one point important to understand here is this. Who is this Purvachiti? As far as seeker is concerned, what is the symbolism here? So Purvachiti means the memories of the past enjoyments that we have had. For a seeker, Purvachiti means that. In this life or in many other lives, whatever sense pleasures we have enjoyed, they leave an impression on our mind. Those impressions, they will create further desires in us. Even when the sense objects are not there in front of us, the mind will think. It will bring up the memory of the past pleasure, some enjoyment, and will fantasize. So it will create new desires based on that. That is Purvachiti. Brahmaji is here is symbol of our own buddhi. So if you know this in Tattva Bodh, the presiding deity, Manaso Devata Chandrama, in that Chittasya Vasudevaha, Buddhehe Brahma, Ahankaryasya Rudraha, these are all the presiding deities of the mind, intellect, memory, ego. So in that Brahma is for the buddhi, and the buddhi keeps on creating new desires. This Agnidhra wanted to go to Pitruloka and enjoy there. Pitruloka, Swargaloka, these are all realms of enjoyment. Bhuvaha Suvaha, Bhuhu Bhuvaha Suvaha. Bhu is a karma yoni. Karma bhumi actually. Manusha is a karma yoni. Every other yoni is the bhoga yoni. Then Bhuva is the interspace. Then Suva is the heavens. So heavens, Pitruloka, these are all at one level. Above that, Maha Janaha Tapaha Satyam. These are 4 higher worlds which are more about tapasya. They are not about enjoyment. Agnidhra wanted enjoyment. So Bhagwan blessed him. He sent Purvachiti, and he got fascinated by Purvachiti, and then he married her also, and he had children also, and he got so attached to them, to Purvachiti, that even after she departed, he continuously thinks of her. Then he drops the body and he does all the specific rituals only to get back to Purvachiti. So Vasana of a human being, past impression that is created, is very, very strong. As far as the seeker is concerned, the distance between the Lord and us is the amount of vasana that one has, especially bhoga vasana, vishaya vasana. When a person thinks more and more that happiness is in this object, in that person, in that situation, then the mind will become extrovert. Then to turn that mind inside and to think of the Lord, to realize that self, is difficult. So this vasana has to be exhausted. In a dharmic way, through the grahastha ashram, one can exhaust it. But it is very difficult to do that if Bhagavat Smriti is not there. If one does not remember the Divine Lord, these vasanas are powerful, the sense temptations and objects are also powerful. They will drag the person out. And they will bind the person into cycle of birth and death. So though grahastha ashram is important to exhaust Vishaya vasanas, the attitude is very, very crucial. If one does not dedicate these to Bhagavan, one does not remember that I am not here for sense enjoyment, the goal of life is supreme realization. That one has to become clear. Through satsang, through reflection, through one's own sadhana, it must become more and more clear to the mind that the purpose of life is realize the truth. Grahastha ashram is one part, one small ashram in the journey of life, in the 4 ashrams. And it has a specific purpose to reduce my vasana, to increase my vairagya, to increase my bhakti. And so without Bhagavad Smarana, without satsang, without Nama Japa, without reflection, if one goes through Grahastha ashram, one will only create more karmas. That's what happened to Agnidhra. He was remembering Brahmaji, but he forgot Brahmaji after that. Once Purvachitti comes, he is fully, enjoying with her and attached to her. He has forgotten. And anyway, his objective was seek pleasure only. Even from Brahmaji, he wanted only pleasure. So the goal of life must become very clear. If the goal of life is not clear, the mind will distract us completely. And such a mind is the cause of bondage. In the Amrit Bindu Upanishad, it is said, mind is of 2 types. Manohid vividham proktam, shuddham cha shuddham evacha. Ashuddham kama sankalpam, shuddham kama vivarjitam. The mind is of 2 types, pure and impure. The impure mind is that which has many selfish desires and fanciful imaginations. Ashuddham kama sankalpam. Shuddham kama vivarjitam. The pure mind is free from kama, free from sense enjoyments, cravings. If one sees something, one will enjoy if it comes by itself. And that also very dharmic and if it is required in some limited quantity. Otherwise, not even bothered about it. One does not hanker after it. One does not seek after it, crave for it. So if realization is required, this Purvachitti has to be overcome. When we try to meditate, what happens? The memories of the past will come. Some incidents, some memories, some sense temptations, they will arise. And when they arise, then the mind gets distracted. One should bring it back to sadhana, to japa, to Bhagavad Smriti, and also tell the mind, how long, how much enjoyment have you done? Are you not satisfied yet? How much more will you do? How much more will you eat? How much more will you sing and dance and watch and touch and smell and what? How much more? Are you not satiated? Even after getting so much, the craving still remains. Where is that permanent happiness in this? If these sense temptations and sense objects were capable of satisfying us, why will we have cravings for them? They are not capable of satisfying. They can give only temporary pleasures. So the mind has to be trained to overcome Purvachitti, memory of the past, and that samskara which is there. It's not only memory. Purvachitti means the past samskara, the impression which is there in the mind, vasana, what we call. The stronger that vasana is, more and more the same thoughts will will keep repeating. If the vasana is weak, it will just come and it will go. But sometimes it will be same thoughts, so some whatever, enjoyment, either it is food or it's opposite gender or wealth or anything. Some past karma is there, vasana is there in the mind. So even if the seeker is trying to meditate today, his Purvachitti will come. So many places you will see this comes in the Puranas. One rishi is meditating and then he is so deep in meditation and single pointed, and the throne of Indra will start shaking and Indra will get insecure, and then Indra will send one Apsara, and that Apsara will go and tempt this rishi, and sometimes the rishi also falls in temptation and forgets the sadhana, gets distracted, starts a family with this woman, and then suddenly realizes, oh, what happened? And this woman also leaves and goes. Then he is devastated, saying, oh my God, what happened to me? How did I get distracted like this? Again, he has to pick up from where he started, where he left. But the mind will not be same as before. Now this mind has gone through sense temptations, objects, enjoyment, pleasure, has got attached. So that mind will again and again distract this rishi. Now he has to put extra effort. Many instances of this will come in different types of stories. The symbolism there is what? One is externally the story happened and it has whatever, implications. Internally, this is the point. The memories will come. And the more tapasya one does, the more this will happen. Because the deeper samskars which are there, they are coming out. So how does one deal with it? First way to do is, if you are doing Nama Japa, just focus on the name of Bhagwan, forget anything else. That's why it is the easiest and the best method, and especially in Kali Yuga. Keep chanting name of Bhagwan. The name of Bhagwan will cleanse the entire subconscious mind. It is not an ordinary word. One should do it with great Shraddha. One can't say Jai Ram Ram बोलने से क्या होता है, राधे राधे बोलने से क्या हो जाएगा, श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः और श्री कृष्णाय नमः और ओम नमः शिवाय और just om. Mechanically one should not do. One should have the Shraddha that this is the name of Bhagwan, which is Vangmay Rupa Bhagwan himself. Vishaya Vasana may be very powerful, but pray to Bhagwan that Bhagwan, you please save me. My mind has all these, you know very well. You are Antaryami. You only have to hold my mind and let go of this. Let these vasanas go. May I not get distracted by them. So pray to Bhagwan and then chant the name. Holding on to the name, even if the mind wanders, bring it back to the name. Don't worry, why did it go there? How long I've been meditating? Still, why are these vasanas rising? I don't know how many such vasanas are there. What a wretched fellow I am. In the seat of meditation, I'm getting such vulgar thoughts. Don't bother about anything. They come, they will go. If we pay attention to them, they will strengthen. So first way is what? Remember the name of Bhagwan. If one is doing Sagun Sakar Upasana, Nama Japa, Rup Dhyan, all that will be very helpful. If one does Nirgun Nirakar, then come back to the pointers. I am not the body, I am not the Jiva, I am pure Brahman, I am infinite consciousness. Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So one method is that. Bring back the mind to the pointers of the Supreme Lord or to the name of the Lord. Both are same, no difference. Of course, the name has much more support system because there's a form associated, there's emotion associated, there is relationship associated. In the Nirgun Nirakar, there is now no such thing because there the importance is of deep level of Vairagya. And here it is Bhakti. But both are most powerful to weed out this Purvachiti. That is one. Second is this Pratipaksha Bhavana has to be done. In the world when we are living, the mind must become alert. Where are these attachments and what are the cravings in my mind? Pratipaksha Bhavana should be done. If it is for sweets, if it is for wealth, it is for fame, it is for some sense enjoyment, some opposite gender, some glory that one wants, appreciation one wants, whatever it may be. One should become aware, oh, this is the craving, this mind is wanting this now. And now it is imagining. So Purvachiti does not come only in meditation. Purvachiti comes at all times to us. Anytime the mind is free, it will start imagining. And it will start having cravings. Then one fulfills those cravings. Then temporary pleasure one gets. But that craving becomes deeper. Again, after some time, it will come. So one should do Pratipaksha Bhavana at that time. Saying that pleasure is temporary, but the craving is permanent, the bondage is permanent. So let there be, see the painful side of the sense craving that one has. Even whether it is sense objects, whether it is a person, whether it's situation, one has to see what is the limitation and what is the dukkha and what is its reality. Books like Bhata Govinda one should read and reflect more and more on that. So then that fascination that one has for this sense enjoyment will go away. It is some delusion only in our head that makes us feel fascinated. Otherwise, where is pleasure in this? Brahmananda alone is real. Everything else is illusory. It is a source of pain. So a devotee will say, all this is appearance of Bhagwan and remember Bhagwan. The Vairagi will say all this is illusory and turn towards the self. Both are doing the same thing. One is thinking this entire realm is illusory and not interested in it, turns the attention away from it. Devotee also is doing the same thing. Though one may say that the whole world is Bhagavad Swarup, so there is no raga and dvesh. One has bhavana of seva towards everything, no craving for sense enjoyment, bhoga vritti. I am here to serve Bhagavan. Bhagavan alone is all this. So even if one sees opposite gender anybody, one thinks Bhagavad Swarup it is, I will worship the Lord, I will serve through whatever best I can. No bhoga vasana, no bhoga vritti. A Vairagi will say, this is made up of flesh and dirt and bones and filth, and what is inside this body? How can there be any fascination for this? Same way wealth, artham anartham bhavaya nityam. Same way relationship, yavad vittoparjana sakta tavan nija parivaro rakta. Whatever is the attachment in the mind, the craving in the mind, one has to do pratipaksha bhavana. So bhakti is one way, pratipaksha bhavana is one way. Sense control is most important. Third, if I don't have any sense control, I eat anything, drink anything, watch anything, speak anything, then how is it going to control my mind? Turning towards the Lord, even Bhagavad Bhakti or Vairagya, etc., will not work. Why? Because senses are not in control. And these senses are very, very powerful. One cannot take these senses for granted. If one thinks that what is the need of sense control? I am going to do anything. Anyway, it is all mithya. How does it matter? All that is wrong understanding. So one has to have deep level of self-control. That's why I'm saying for all this to happen, the goal must become very clear. What is the goal? The goal is to know the truth. Bhagavad Sakshatkar, Atma Jnana, whatever you call it. That is the supreme goal of human life, and everything else is to prepare me, to help me to come there. So if I have to understand this and I understand this, if this is my goal, then I will take up things which will help me to go towards the goal, not which distracts me, what pulls me back. So this Agnidhra's goal was enjoyment. So he got enjoyment. And his mind was fascinated by it. You see the difference between the father and the son. The father, Priyavrata, his goal was realization. But Brahmaji said, yes, your goal is realization. Naraji gave him the knowledge also that this is how you realize and this is how one renounces, this is how one lives the life. And then Brahmaji and Manu, Raja, they come and then they convince him and then he gets into Grahastha. He does his duty, dharmic way, enjoys also, but he also finds, even with the knowledge that he has, he still finds he got attached to the wife. But Punya Karma, he has done some Punya Karma that Buddhi awakened at one point and he said, what am I doing? Where have I got attached? What I started for and where did I land up? Even that Priyavrata Raja, with all his alertness and his devotion to Bhagavan, he still was attached to his wife. Think about anything else, anyone else then. What happens to us if we don't have any, that level of bhakti? He had bhakti, he had jnana, he had vairagya, he was going to renounce the world. That level preparation he had done. Then he got into the household way because Brahmaji said it is the will of Bhagavan. Finally, he renounced and he started remembering Bhagavan alone. So his goal of life was knowledge. He attained knowledge finally. In between, he went through some things. That is to show us also that even such a glorious person can get attached. So don't take Maya for granted. And don't ever forget Bhagavan. So this is the father. Now the son Agnidhra, what is he doing? He ruled dharmically, he did everything properly, he was a good king, but his ultimate purpose is, I want to go to Pitrulok, I want to enjoy there. So he was meditating on Brahmaji for that. Each one's purpose of meditation is different. Not everybody meditates for realizing the truth. Some people meditate for getting more concentration power, some people to reduce their BP and cholesterol, Some people will meditate to get more, so they will single-pointedly think about wealth or success or fame or glory or anything. Few people meditate to have darshan of Bhagavan or to realize the truth. So each one's purpose is very different. So this Agnidhra, he got very easily carried away because his purpose was enjoyment. He didn't put any effort to resist this Purvachitti. A sadhak who wants to know the truth will put that effort to bring the mind back to the sadhana, will not get carried away. Even after getting carried away, one will have to come back only. If the mind is very clear, the goal is realization, then one will regret, oh, why did I come to this? But here we see that doesn't happen. Agnidhra's purpose is enjoyment. So even after Purvachitti has gone, the balanced time that Agnidhra has, he goes on doing rites and rituals so that he can go to Pitrulok. And there he wants to enjoy with this Purvachitti. You see, what we think intensely, that is what we will attain. Ya matihi sa gatihi. As the mati, so the gati. His mati was enjoyment, his gati is Pitrulok. So now this is the second chapter. Now he went, he enjoyed there in Pitrulok. Now the father has gone. Now these 9 brothers, they are ruling in different parts of this earth. Now what happens? This first king, the eldest brother, the eldest son is Nabhi. So now this Nabhi, he marries this Meru Devi, the eldest of the daughters of Sumeru. So now they were married, they want a child. So what do? So this third chapter now. So this Nabhi Raja and Meru Devi, they single-pointedly worship Bhagwan Vishnu. It's very interesting in Bhagavat, everywhere this comes. Whenever somebody wants a progeny, they will worship Bhagwan. If Brahmaji tells somebody to take the creation forward, they will worship Bhagwan. Kapil Muni we saw, he did that. Then this Prachetas also did that. Now here you see Nabhi Raja and Meru Devi, they also worship and saying, Bhagwan, you please bless us with a noble soul, and he himself will come now, you see. So they worship Bhagwan, Lord Vishnu, and Bhagwan, who is possessed of a most charming personality, is difficult to attain even when all the means such as material, place, time, prayers, priests, dakshina, everything is properly employed, even then difficult to attain him. But he was determined. So Raja, Nabhi and Meru Devi, they do the rituals, they want to propitiate Bhagwan because his heart was pure. And it is said here that the rites known by the name of Pravargya, those Pravargya rites are done, which is done just before the Soma Yagna is taken up. So he was with a full, pure, devout heart engaged in this. Bhagwan was very pleased, and he comes before them. He reveals himself before the couple. Now, when Bhagwan appeared, so it is said, how did he appear? So it is said he appeared with 2 pairs of arms, was clad in tawny silk, and had the splendid Srivatsa mark on his bosom, distinguished by his conch, lotus, the sylvan flowers, the discus, the Kaustuba gem, the mace, adorned with a crown, earrings, bracelet, girdle, necklace, armlets, anklets, all these ornaments. So, beautiful form of Bhagwan, he manifested. Now, what happened when everybody saw that Bhagwan himself has manifested? All the priests were officiating, and all the directors of the sacrifice, the Yajman, everybody, they bow down, they worship the Lord, and they offer water to wash his hands. They receive him with the same high regard as a penniless person would welcome some great treasure. Now, what did the priests say? So the priests, they worship the Lord, and they say that though you are self-perfect in every way, be pleased, O most adorable one, to accept again and again the homage offered by us, your servants. So they say that we have been taught by our great ancestors and noble souls to keep chanting Namaha, to repeat the word Namaha. So he says that you are that infinite supreme Lord. All the priests, they come together and they say that the person whose mind is engaged in this material world, how can that person hope to determine what is the true nature of yours? With the help of the names and the colors and the forms of the universe, how can material things ever help a person to understand your true nature? Though Bhagwan has come in a specific form of Bhagwan is a very divine form. When our mind is attached to various things in the world, we only see everything as form. We don't see that, oh, there is a consciousness which is substratum of all this changing things in the world, and that very consciousness is my true self, and that very consciousness is Ishvara, who has come in this particular form. So he says that you are the Supreme Lord transcending Prakriti and Purusha both. So how can an ordinary Jiva who is so attached to the worldly pleasures even know your true nature? So what can that person do? The utmost he can do is to recount a part of your multitudinous excellent virtues, and to remember little bit of your glory, which will drive away sins of all mankind. On the other hand, you are propitiated in every way through worship offered, even with prayers lovingly uttered by your servants. See, a material person will not know the nature of Bhagwan, whose mind is very fascinated by worldly things. One may even worship the Lord, but one doesn't know the true nature of Bhagwan. On the contrary, he says the devotees of the Lord, they worship you through loving prayers. They may not do elaborate rituals and all that, but through loving prayers, in a faltering voice, with the eyes which are watering, maybe with the tulsi leaf, maybe with the durva grass. So using all this, they worship in a simple way, but their bhavana is so much more because their mind is absorbed in you. So they say that we do not perceive any gain worth the name to you, even through this sacrifice. So many rituals what they are doing, they understand that this is only our means, and Bhagwan darshan happens by his will alone. And no amount of karma will actually result in the darshan of Bhagwan. Darshan of Bhagwan comes by his will. If he wants to give darshan, he will give. If he doesn't want, he will not give. Rites and rituals, etc., will help us to invoke intensely the Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord, and to be one with the Lord, to think about the Lord, to seek any blessings from the Lord. So it will only be like as though, we send an application. Now Bhagwan has to accept it. Then he comes by his will. So he says here, they say here this. You are the embodiment of all the four objects of human pursuit, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and directly flowing in an abundance degree from your own self and not conflicting with each other. He says all this comes by your grace only. And these Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha, they don't conflict each other actually. If we follow Artha and Kama with Dharma, it will purify the mind for Mukti. So they are in sync with each other if Dharma is followed. If Dharma is not followed, his Artha and Kama will make the mind extroverted. Then it will take one away from Moksha. So he says that they are actually not conflicting. And they directly flow from in abundance degree from your own self and not conflicting with each other. In our case, however, who seek blessings, this sacrifice should only prove to be a means of propitiating you. He says, we don't want anything, we want to only propitiate you. These priests are saying, because the priests have that mindset, they are pure devotees of the Lord possibly, so that's what he's saying, they are saying here. So they say that out of abundant compassion for us, we don't know what is the best for us. You only know. You are Ishvara, we are Jivas, we are ignorant. We don't know what is best for us, but you are Ishvara. You know what is the best for us. You are greater than the greatest. You have come here by your own will, and you have come to reveal yourself to us. With that intent you have come here. So you please bless with whatever you feel. And he says here, they say here that you please bless us with mukti, the final beatitude, as well as our desired blessing, even though you have not been properly worshipped. Meaning they don't have any pride that they have done such rituals and then because of that Bhagwan has manifested. No, Bhagwan has come of his own will. Any amount of rites and ritual is not what has made Bhagwan come here. So they are very clear, they are humble in that. And they are very clear that, we have not done whatever karma we have done, that will have lot of flaws. Mantra lopa, tantra lopa, kriya lopa, shakti lopa, shraddha lopa, kala lopa, naivedyadi vihita lopa. So many lopas are there. Lopa means flaws, mistakes. Something is missing. Something is not done properly. So they are very humble. They know very clearly that this, our sadhana will have so many limitations. Bhagwan has come out of his grace alone. So may Bhagwan bless us with mukti also and with whatever desires are there. May Bhagwan bless. Just as a sage would approach ignorant people of his own accord. He gives the example here that a saint feels compassion for the ignorant and comes of one's own to help them. Like how Gurudev came down from the Himalayas and leaving Mother Ganga, leaving Tapon Maharaj's presence, he came down. Why? Compassion. He wants to share this knowledge which has benefited him with the masses. People have not asked him. They don't even know they are ignorant. But he knows they are suffering purely out of ignorance. Out of uncaused compassion, causeless compassion, these saints, they come. Like that, he says, Bhagwan has come. And you have come here of your own will. Now that you, the foremost of those who grant boons, have manifested yourself before the eyes of your own devotees, specifically the royal sage, Rajarshi, who is Nabhi. What he says then, that this itself is a great blessing that you have come. That itself is a great blessing, a unique benediction. Your hosts of virtues are incessantly recounted even by sages reveling in the self. Therefore, he asks one very beautiful thing. He says, while stumbling, sneezing, falling down, yawning, when placed in a sad plight, or even in high fever, and while dying, when we are powerless to remember you, let your name, which describes all your virtues and dispels all our sins, somehow appear on our tongue. These priests have asked that blessing first, that may we remember you at all times first. He says, you have come here and you have come here to bless this Nabhi Raja, etc. So all that is very good. But first you please bless us with this, meaning constant remembrance may we have. Then he says the king is desirous of a progeny, and that's the purpose with which the yajna was done. And the king has worshipped you for that purpose. He has resorted to you, competent as you are, to grant all desired boons, including heaven and including moksha. Now he says, what is his hope? His hope is to have a son like you. Nabhi Raja wants a son like you. And regarding the progeny as the highest object of human pursuit, even as a pauper would approach Kubera with the hope of obtaining husk. A poor man who goes to Kuber is the treasurer of gods, and one can ask anything from that Kuber. But what is one this poor man asking? Just asking some husk. Like that, Nabhi Raja wants a progeny. He's like asking husk from the Lord of the universe. But one little request there he has is, the son has to be like you, a progeny like you. So, having said that, be pleased to ignore the disrespect shown by us ignorant people to you, the Supreme Deity, because you are the Lord of unlimited activity. You have been called here by us, who are so stupid to look upon progeny as the highest object. So please forgive us, we are asking something very petty, and you have graciously come here and to bless. But we are ignorant and we made you come down here, so you please forgive us. Now you see, Nabhi Raja has such pious souls and such great priests who have the humility, who have the clarity, who have the bhakti. And Nabhi Raja is not speaking, these priests are speaking on behalf of him. So when the priests have said, then see why the priest also speaking, because the Nabhi Raja is Yajman and Devta has come, Bhagwan has come, will bless the Yajman only. All blessings will go to the Yajman finally. The priests are seeking devotion. They are saying we should remember you at all times. Just bless us with that much. We don't want anything else. Now Bhagwan says that, O sages, aho bata ham rishayo bhavadbhir avitatha girbhir varam asulabham abhiyachito. He says, you have put me in a very difficult predicament. Why? Because your speech is infallible. You have asked me a rare boon, that a son like me should be born to this royal sage. Now obviously there is nobody like him. So he only has to be born. Bhagwan is infinite, Bhagwan is one. Who is like him? Incomparable. So he says, you have actually with your words trapped me in that sense. By saying a son like me should be born. So he says that I alone am my compeer, matchless am I as I am. Nonetheless, the words of Brahmana should not prove false either, inasmuch as it is my own mouth that is represented by the Brahmana race. He said, na Purusha Suktam, that how this Brahmana osya mukham asid bahu rajanya kritaha. So the mouth is Bhagwan himself. Brahmanas are the mouth. So if Brahmanas have said, then he says that has to happen. And so I shall descend on the earth through Nabhi, exhibiting a part of my own. So the Amsha avatar of Bhagwan will happen now. So having said all this, the Lord disappeared, propitiated by the great seers at that very sacrifice. The Lord descended on earth as the son of Nabhi and Meru Devi in the divine form to oblige that king and to teach the world about sannyas, about asceticism, about tyag, about tapasya. This avatar of Bhagavan is very special, Rishabdev avatar. The sacred vows observed by the sages that have no covering on their body except the atmosphere lead an ascetic life and are pledged to perpetual celibacy. To teach the world all this, the glory of asceticism, the glory of tapasya, the glory of this tyaga, being a digambara, not having any body identification, absorbing the mind in the self, for all that, to teach all that, this Rishabdev avatar has happened. More of this we will continue in our next class. Now that Rishabdev ji is born, now what happens? Now Rishabdev ji Charitra will come. So Priyavrata over, Agnidhra over, Nabhi and Meru Devi over. Now come Rishabdev Charitra. That we will take up in our next satsang. We will do the Arati. Then if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand and then we will take up. Audio. Are you able to hear the audio?
No, Swamiji.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रियमती मंगल मंगल शांति हर्षित सैन की मंगल मुरली मंगल आरती मंगल शिव चंद्रिका मंगल मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की मंगल आदि कटी प्रिय रे पठंती मंगल शिवमय जागर मंगल मंगल शंकर भगवान की जय। ओम चंद्रतारकम नीमा विद्युतो भान्तिकुतो यमग्नि मेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
Can we say that Purvachitti is a form of Maya? Yes, it's part of Maya only. All right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.